now we will talk about study material. So as the name suggests, study material is all about when you create any material or content for the purpose of study. Now, of course, study materials are of different types, and a lot of things are included in order to help students to learn better or to learn in a more fun way, because learners are of different types. There are a lot of learners who are really who learn things from watching videos. There are few auditory learners who learn from audios, and then for small kids, of course, animation really works well in order to make them learn anything. So nowadays you will find that study materials are created keeping in mind that every kind of learners can be included in that. Okay, so a lot of study material would have video, animations, audios, infographics, and everything in order to make the study more interesting. And also the study materials majorly nowadays that you create are online. Okay, so you can easily create them in a form of presentation like you create on PowerPoint, um, or in a form of course. Um, Also, it's not necessary that study material would be in regards to any particular class book or something. There can be several other subjects on which a course can be created. A study material can be created like stress management, time management, okay, fitness, emotional intelligence. There are a lot of other subjects as well that students are interested to learn nowadays. So first of all, what you need to do, of course, you need to create the structure. A very simple way is that you figure out what is the topic and then what all knowledge as per the age group. So study material is not going to be the same for all the age groups. So as per the age group, you need to see how difficult topic can be, how easy a topic can be, how easier information you should mention, or either the information that you're giving, the knowledge that you're giving is for any higher education class. Okay, and accordingly you will just create the structure of that. And content is of course about it can have more questions, activities. So content should not be only about telling them or giving them information. It should include everything. Like you create a complete syllabus in which there are activities as well to make them learn. There are quizzes as well. At times there can be a little participation of role plays or something. Whatever way you think a particular topic can become easy. Uh, then comes understanding the students, which simply is that you should know that what is the age group of these students, how much knowledge they already have. Are they absolutely new to this particular topic? If they knew, then you might have to create the study material from the beginning, absolute basic. Okay, and if they are students who would have a definite idea about this topic, then you would obviously give them in-depth knowledge. So you need to first of all do the need analysis of the students. Then the languages, of course, you can't afford to go wrong with language. Your grammar and the spelling checks have to be accurate. And students depend on the study material. If there are errors and faults, then of course there's no point creating them. So you need to take care. And also the language is straightforward and formal, because remember, you're just giving them information, knowledge, illustrations and visuals. As mentioned, it is important to include visuals and illustrations in the study material. Otherwise, no matter how good of a study material you have created, the students get bored. Even you will get bored of reading long essays in just black and white. Okay, flow charts, tables, graphs, any other infographic that you think is going to make them understand a topic, you should include that. Visuals, I believe, are a very good way to just keep up the interest of the students. These are few tools that you can create a study material on. PowerPoint, I really enjoy creating study material out there. Microsoft Word is also okay. Style Guide Maker is also a tool on which you create study material, but it is not free of cost. Whereas Microsoft Word and PowerPoint, a lot of features are at least available without paying any money.
Next is learning to prepare academic guide, right? So now study material is a supplement to your academic guide. So what is your academic guide? Your academic guide is the main book itself. It is the textbook containing different topics of learning related to one subject that is used as the main course book by academicians to teach students, right? So this is the main, your academicians are obviously going to refer to the academic books and the textbooks. They are not going to rely on your scanners or the study material. They focus on the academic book completely onto the academic guide, whereas the students mostly they focus on the study material. How is it different from study material? So academic guide is the main course book for students, whereas the study material is the supplementary book providing easy to understand information and can be used for different courses relating to a common subject. So what would be the steps involved in creating your academic guide? So it is planning. So here the first thing is plan the study material and structure it so that it is completed by the decided duration. So the main thing and the ethical behavior is to stick to your deadlines. If you have a task to be completed, make sure you leave everything else aside, because this becomes your priority, and make sure you stick to the deadlines and you have it all completed by the deadline. So plan the study material and structure it. Format. So format is you select the content with a template, right? So you choose a particular template and you stick to that. Make sure you also stick to the style guides and make sure you maintain the consistency. Make sure again all the topics are covered, elaborate more on the important points, give a lot of examples, add your glossaries, make sure you include a lot of examples, your infographics, images and clip arts and all of that, and also question banks, right? So you have to include a section for, you can say, the most repeated questions, or like the previous year's question papers and question banks and all of that. So add images, clip arts, infographics and question banks, glossaries. Give a final shape and flow of the content, get it forward and acknowledged by the accredited academicians and institutions. Yes, in order for an academic guide to be prepared, you need to get it acknowledged and accredited by the academicians and the institutions. So you need to be a subject matter expert if you are preparing an academic guide. So no matter what field you are from, you need to be a subject matter expert in that field. It's only then that you can go ahead and prepare an academic guide and get it acknowledged. Then you need to go ahead and formulate it to the final result. You need to check the flow of the content, the logical structure of the content, the main key points, whether they have been focused on, what is the main thing you wanted to focus on, the topics basically, whether those topics are sent across rightly. Make sure nothing offensive content. If you're talking about any topic or any domain, there may be some subjects that kind of talk about controversies and stuff. Make sure you do not indulge into any controversial topics. Just give examples that are simple and straightforward and does not come across rude or offensive to any person, any religion, any culture or any race. So that is one important point, because when we are getting down to educating people and teaching them, especially in academy, need to be completely liberal and neutral without having any biased decision or trying to influence the students with any biased decision. So that is one important factor to take by and to live by. So key points to remember: use the language simple yet enabling the students to learn a lot more. So you need to use simple language. The simple language goes by trying and helping your students to understand in the most simple language and in the simple form, does with a proper flow. This again, it goes through all. It has to be very wisely structured with a complete flow, smooth transitions made. Make sure that what topics have to be covered, those topics are covered in a logical sense and in a logical manner. It should be wrapped in a way that it gets complete within the given time frame. So yes, all of this, making sure that the students have semesters or trimesters. So based on the time frame that they have to complete, make sure the syllabus and make sure the academic guide is prepared so that the syllabus is completed within the specified time frame. Making sure you keep in mind the holidays, the number of days off, and total number of days that they can actually give to the book, and wherein the teachers or the lecturers can go ahead and actually work on completing the syllabus. It should be wrapped in a way that it gets completed within the given time frame. same. Make sure the font size, the style, the margin, and everything matches the required set standards and the style guide. Make sure the consistency is maintained all through, right? So that is another important point, the consistency point. So make sure it is consistent all through.
Hello all. Welcome to this video. This will be about tutorials. So what are video tutorials? They are the same that you watch on YouTube every single day. Okay, so what is the difference between any study material and tutorial? The basic difference is that when you create a tutorial about any topic to teach people anything, it can be anything, literally, not, it is not only related to education, a particular subject, it can be any topic in which you are an expert and you are giving tutorials about that topic. So the difference is that this is a one-way conversation. You just dictate what you know, and the other person can only listen to you because it's a recorded video. Okay. You try your best, of course, to describe everything as much as possible so that nobody has got any questions for you, and the demonstration or anything that you are teaching is obviously you keep it as clear as possible, and it also depends on how much knowledge do you have about a subject, how well you have planned your video, and how confident you are sounding on the video. But the point is that the other person who is listening to your tutorials, they do not have any access to, of course, talk to you. They cannot clear their doubts at the same moment if they are finding any. These are some softwares on which you can prepare your tutorials. Although if it is about creating YouTube videos, you can just create it simply on your mobile phone also. Okay, so what are the tips to create tutorials? You need to keep the tight focus. So first of all, people do not love very lengthy tutorials. So you need to make sure that your tutorials or whatever video you are creating, they're not containing too many information in one video. Okay, take care of the soundtrack, take care that there should not be any background voice. Share your screen and show on your screen in case you're teaching something in which some of the infographics are needed to make them understand. If you will only dictate a few things, at times it's not that impactful. Bring your personality. A lot of time you will notice that you may not have a very tremendous knowledge, or you may not be an expert, but it is all about your personality. It is all about how you talk. It is all about how natural you are sounding and how much of an expert you are sounding in demonstrating that particular subject. So you need to really work on that. At times we are very good, generally we may have knowledge also, but when it comes to camera, we just get very conscious and we are not able to talk. So you might have to practice initially a lot. Okay, you need to keep it simple. And this is Movavi. This is one of the tools that you can use to record your screen. At times you need screen recorder. Completely depends on what is the topic of the video, if you need a screen recorder or not. Okay, but if you need it, this is one of the best applications that you can use to record your screen, and in case whatever it is that you want to show people on your screen. A lot of people, when they teach something on YouTube, they use this video. Okay. The only thing that I would say when you are recording your video, please practice a lot. Practice talking in front of the camera. Because when you are present, face to face, even when you're not watching, you're conscious of the fact that people will watch you later, or that you've been recorded. So I think the whole problem comes there when, you're not sounding confident. But a practice every single day will make it perfect. And if you're still finding it difficult, practice talking in front of the mirror. This will give you a lot of confidence. That makes a lot of change. Okay, practice that particular topic that you need to talk in the tutorial in front of the mirror for good 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and within a few days you will find that confidence. And initially everyone's videos are like, you will feel that, yeah, this is just a beginning, but after a few videos it will all be perfect.
Yeah, and make sure it is short, simple to the point, the entire abstract on the main title page. Ensure the abstract answers all the following questions, right? That's the main idea of your white paper. So, moving on, e learning courses. Now, what is an e learning course? So, e learning course is an electronic course, right? So, here you have your e modules, e learning modules, and all of that. So, basically, it is your electronic learning system. So it's more or less like your courseware. So your courseware also is a computer program wherein you put in your presentation and go ahead and teach it. So e-learning is also just the same with you have different tools and different ways to go ahead and try and create. In fact, just we went through the Quizlet, so you can use Quizlet as a software to go ahead and prepare your e-learning modules. So e-learning modules you have on different, especially now Udemy and Coursera, and there are a lot of other options wherein e-learning courses are available. And also you can go ahead and try and create your own course on one of these platforms. So it is very helpful to go ahead and kind of use these e-learning modules, and especially with the booming industry and self-paced courses and stuff, it's like a big thing these days, and it's mainly in trend because there are a lot of people who are looking out for kind of trying to understand concepts and take up courses and stuff. In fact, with the help of the online and internet, people are able to get hands on different fields and try to understand more knowledge in different areas and all of that. So here you have Microsoft PowerPoint, then you have Adobe Captivate, Zorta Project, Udutu, iSpring, Compose, Sika, Smart Builder, which we've mentioned earlier. So creating e-learning material in Adobe Captivate 7. So create a project with a blank slide and choose the required size. Choose the layout and design. You can choose which template you think fits and suits your requirement. Then again, this goes same like your PowerPoint presentation with the title and the subtitle. Select the type of interaction from the options, like if you want a memory game or scroll, all of that. Like the memory game also is cool to remember. So this is the type of interaction that you have on Adobe Captivate. So browse library to integrate data from different softwares like Excel. Yeah, so you can go ahead and browse and to integrate data from different softwares. So wherever you think your software, you get a plethora of different softwares through which you can access and go ahead and incorporate and integrate data from. Explore more options of Adobe Captivate with adding audios, importing images, recording software simulation, and the like. Add quiz and question banks to test the knowledge of trainees. Yes, try and include quizzes and stuff so you can like understand and their level of grasping the capacity. You can then make sure they all are on the same page. If there is a lack in understanding you, then you need to pace up and you need to try out different methods of teaching or different approaches in the way you can go ahead, right? So including quizzes or asking questions time to time works well. Save the slides, and then so you are good to go. Your e-learning course material is ready. And so types of e-learning content. So you have PPT, you have PDF documents. So e-learning content, you now just we went through the white paper. So that was in a PDF format, right? PDF document. So include PDF documents and stuff, images, web links, videos embedded and uploaded, right? Like just this one, the self-paced course now, which you are taking up, which is, and embedded and uploaded out there. Then delivery mode, which is self-paced and instructor-led. Now, self-paced and instructor-led, you need to know difference. Now, when it is self-paced, the videos are recorded and it's there. It's going to be accessible anytime, whenever you are free to go ahead and access it and do the self-study, right? So that's your self-paced according to, your well wish and fancy. You just need to go ahead and start recording. The instructor-led is, it's not a saved video out there. The instructor is leading it and you ought to be present when the course is going on, right? So if you have to attend a live course, that would be instructor-led, but self-paced course, the videos are already there and you just need to go ahead and access and understand the course by your own well wish and fancy according to your pace, the way you want to go ahead with it.
Hi guys, welcome once again. Now we will understand what is instructional designing. Understand it in a very simple layman's language. Instructional designing is a process, it's a part of learning and management system. So earlier, all the trainings used to be face to face. Later on, within a few years, of course, the trend has got changed and almost all the trainings are now online and people prefer taking online trainings. Okay. So, instructional designer is somebody who creates those trainings. So don't ever create this misconception that instructional designer is a trainer. He may be a trainer, he or she. Okay, but instructional designing is about designing the course to deliver the training. Okay, so whenever these online courses are designed, okay, and then after designing, first of all, you create a rough design as per the requirement for which you do need analysis. So need analysis is a very big process in instructional designing, which is called training needs analysis. What does it mean? It means that every training has a particular need. If you are creating a course for kids, the need is different. If it is for a teenager, the need is different. If it is college students, the need is different. And if it is for corporate, the need is absolutely different. So you talk about English speaking, okay? If you are going to design a course for English speaking for corporate employees, then of course the design of the training is going to be entirely different based on the work profile, based on how much English do they actually need. Because what is the need of this training? The need of this training, when it's a corporate employee, the need of the training is going to be to enhance the business, of course. Otherwise employer will never give this extra time to go and learn English while you're in the organization, working in the organization. Okay, it is all about that. What exactly is the need? Is the need about writing a lot? Okay, if in case there are reports that are getting created on daily basis, if the work profile is about writing email to the clients, so it completely depends on the nature of job, which is why training needs analysis is the biggest part of instructional designing. So basis on the learners, basis on their knowledge and their knowledge gaps, you always assess that what is the need of this training, how are you going to fulfill those gaps, and accordingly you design the course. Once you design the course, you get it approved from the client, of course, and once that is approved that yes, this is fine, you then design the final model, okay, after the approval comes. So this is what basically instructional designing is, for which there are a lot of tools on which you design the courses, like Adobe Captive, Storyline 360. These are some important tools in order to create design. Okay. What is the need of instructional designing? Identify a performance problem. Uh, a lot of time, instruction designers are hired in a lot of corporate offices. Okay. Whenever there's a dip in the performance, or especially when the business is international and non-native speakers are not able to talk, there is any performance gap. Okay. So training can be created not only related to English speaking, that was just an example. It may be that there is a process gap, which means the understanding of the business. Okay. Then also instructional designer will figure out what is the problem exactly in the understanding. Okay. Why the performance is going down. And accordingly, with this need analysis, whatever problem areas are there, accordingly, the training material will be created. So you need to determine the goals and the objective. What is going to be the objective of this training that you're designing, this training module? Define your learners. What kind of learners do you have? Are they knowledgeable? Do they have any prior knowledge or not? And then develop the strategies to meet the goal. That how exactly are you going to fulfill it through videos? Let's suppose you're supposed to teach them, your learners know English already, but they've got a problem in understanding foreign language. So then your design should include a lot of listening activities. Okay, so similarly, you identify these strategies and then you design your course finally. What is the reason? Of course, to figure out that what is the need of the training. There are reasons for instructional designing jobs in the market. That training is required everywhere, okay? And training is needed in order to enhance the business, okay? And if it is obviously at a college level or for students who are just learning and studying, then of course also a lot of trainings are required in order to make them better, in their career. So need of every kind of training will always be there. So instructional designing is not limited to any particular subject, but it is about this, this design you can create for any subject. And if there is a subject that you're completely unaware of, then you take help of subject matter expert. Okay, tools, people, organization. What is the process, method, theories? There are a lot of theories of instructional designing, technical equipments that's needed. Then there are people that you would deal with in order to do your need analysis, subject matter experts in case you need any kind of information. Then this subject matter expert can be a supervisor, can be a manager, or simply a subject matter expert in any organization. Any internal staff. So a lot of people that you deal with, organization, programs for NGO. So you can create instructional designing training module for any NGO program as well. They do a lot of charitable programs, government organizations, military. So a lot of organizations are there for which you do it. There are a lot of models for instructional designing basis on which you create your design, following the framework. There are a lot of models, okay? Any model is the one that works the best, no matter that you are designing course for whatever organization, whether for adult, whether for kids, anywhere. Any model works everywhere, although there are St. Patrick model or Kirkpatrick, sorry, I'm so sorry, okay, or Sam's model. All of these models are there. They are not for anything. Like Sam's model is especially for IT industry. Similarly, every model particularly belong to a particular class. Few of them are not for kids, only for adults. But any model really works well for every kind of design that you need to create. Now let's understand what it is. A stands for analysis. So at this stage, when you start to design, as I said, training needs analysis. So you first of all analyze the needs, the requirement of the training, task, who are the participants, what are their current capabilities. Okay, if you need to start this topic exactly from the scratch, or if they already know something and you can just create, design your course further. And after doing this analysis, you start to design your learning objectives. That after the course is finished, what will be the learning objectives and how exactly you're going to deliver them. Whether you will add activities, infographics, exercises, what are you going to do? And once you come here till objective, then you develop it. Once you decide all of this, you create a prototype, you develop the course material, review the pilot session, like you just put them in slides to create, to develop the course further. Okay, and then you implement all of this training implementation, anything like whatever you've decided here, activities, exercises, you actually implement it here. And at the end, there is going to be an evaluation. This evaluation will be about overall training, whether or not this training was successful, this training material, whether we have achieved the objectives that we have asked for or not. Okay, and evaluation can also be of the students. Okay, that obviously basis on their performance only, you would figure out that if the training was actually successful or not. So this is how ADDIE model works, and this particular framework can be used to create any kind of design, whether you are creating it for corporates, whether you're creating it especially for IT, school, college going students, for any kind of course, you can use this. This is just a bit more detailed description of analysis. Who are the learners? What are their characteristics? What skills must learners achieve by the end of this project? What are the potential learning constraints? What are the delivery options available? So you analyze everything. At times, you also analyze where is it the training is going to be delivered. Okay, and then comes the designing phase, which we have already discussed. After that, the development phase, the implementation phase, and then at the end, the evaluation phase. So this instructional designing is also a part of academic writing.
So let's continue with this. We are going to start with question banks. So a collection of questions forms a question bank. It allows you to create, preview, and edit stored questions. Question banks can store questions within categories. The categories can be limited to being used on the site, course, or quiz level. So over here, it is a sort of collection, and it focuses on every single aspect that is contained in any sort of text. Like, for example, a chapter, every little thing, there will be a question about it, and it can be of different categories. So like it could be like an MCQ, it could be fill in the blanks, it could be long answer questions, short answer questions. And obviously they have mentioned over here, it can be limited to being used on the site, course, or quiz level as well. So you may see a few question banks, right? Like at the end of a chapter in a textbook, there would be like a lot of questions, and then there are like question banks as well, and question banks are more detail oriented and more detail focused. So you may have seen it somewhere in a textbook or something. So here are a few steps to follow in order to create a question bank, which is preparing questions, filtering questions, and validation. So number one, planning the type of questions, analyzing the subject, the halo effect, and collection of test items. So over here, they're talking about what sort of questions are you going to be adding? Is it going to be like an MCQ or fill in the blank or long answer? Then you will be analyzing the subject while you are writing the questions, and then you'll be creating like a sort of halo effect, which is basically making sure that the audience is going to have the same approach as you. So like not exactly the same approach, but will be like whatever goals you are trying to ensure that they meet, they will be able to meet that. That is what you mean by your halo effect. And lastly, collection of test items. So basically collection of different sorts of information in order to create your question bank. Then is filtering questions according to age group, qualification, background, area of interest, etc. So obviously it needs to be age appropriate. It should be the correct qualifications need to be met. Like for a college student, you will not give a class 12 question bank to them, even if it's the same subject. So qualification also is very important, and area of interest. And lastly, checking the facts, information, basically editing and proofreading the entire thing, and making sure that it is appropriate for the people that you are considering your audience to be. So proper proofreading and proper analysis is very important in creating your question bank. So here are a few formats of questions that are used in a question bank. So there is true or false, matchmaking, MCQ, long or short answer questions, embedded answers, and fill in the blanks. So very short analysis of questions.
How do you go ahead and prepare workbook? And you need to make sure, well, developing a system for me, you need to make sure that you have like a system to maintain the confidentiality of the questions, of your whole content and everything. And also be very cautious and a lot of attention with regards to the images, the videos, the music, and all of them, because it may kind of be a copyright issue if you do not take permission, or if you are using the sources that belongs to someone else. So images, make sure use images that are free to use, probably free to use and share even commercially, and all of that you can find on the advanced settings of Google, which we did in module 2, right? So then going ahead with the music, the videos, and make sure that you don't really stress on too much focus on what's to be included, what's not to be included, the images, the videos. Make sure first you set the questions, the syllabus, and then you go ahead with making it more interactive and, making it more engaging with the clip arts and videos and kind of tutorials in between and all of that. So moving on to workbook. So what is a workbook? So now we've understood a workbook, we've understood the question bank. Now moving to workbook. So you can say these are supplement tools in classrooms and trainings and stuff, right? So it could be online, or it could be in a paperback format, or just a hard copy where you just hand it over to the participants for them to make sure that throughout the day, whatever has been taught or whatever session, the interactive session that the training had, all the participants are on the same page of understanding. So it is like, you have your reference workbooks and stuff. So create a list of topics that you want to cover in your workbook firstly. So you can say these are like your works as reference books. So the first thing is you need to go ahead and create a list of topics that you want to cover in your workbook. So you have like a number of topics. Make sure these topics are listed, and you want to have those topics covered in your workbook. Then organize the topics according to easy and difficult. Now you have different topics that you want to cover in the workbook. Now make sure it is logically arranged, and it is not, it has to have like a logical sequence to it. So maybe if you jumble up questions, it may kind of look very confusing. So make sure it is in a logical structure, and make sure when you organize the topics, you organize it to something basic, then you go ahead with the medium, and then you go ahead with the difficult part, right? So this is the actual way of organizing your topics. Then decide on the content for each module, right? So when you are already talking about the topics and easy to difficult and stuff, so now in each module, go ahead and try creating the subtopics that have to be included in module 1, module 2, and how many other modules. And before even going ahead and deciding on the content for each module, you first need to understand the topics that are to be covered, how many modules should be included, and what would be the subtopics, so you can say a topics that are to be covered under each module. Determine how the learner's grasping capacity could be measured in each module. So make sure towards the end of a module, you also are able to understand their grasping capacity. So this is why your workbooks are actually created firstly, right? So you can fill up questions, ask questions with one word or one-liner answers. Then again, the main thing about workbook is the main objective is quick reference book. So you need to ask questions in one word that just serves the purpose of a one-liner answer, one word or one-liner answer, right? So those are your workbook. You also need to make sure that all of the topics are covered, but in the most simplest form. So this is challenge here, actually making sure all the topics are covered and trying and presenting your content, or you can say the whole topic, in the most simplest and easy manner. Then use of images, icons, clip arts to make it interactive. Make sure it is interactive, make sure it is engaging. Even if you look at the kids' workbooks these days, it is nothing in comparison to the workbooks that we had in our schools. We used to just have the normal black and white workbook, say a few years ago. But with, day by day, it's becoming so advanced that these days the children's books are so colorful. It in fact sends out a message that, it's something to play about and learn and have fun, not just rigid to focusing on the learning. Now, so coming to that, we also have a lot of apps these days, like you see Byju's, and they're coming up with all different concepts wherein it engages the students and the kids to actually learn with fun. So they are not portraying it as a learning thing, but they are portraying it as something fun to do. So while you are doing the fun part, simultaneously side by side, you end up learning. So this is the main focus. So keeping all that in mind, we also need to make sure we get inspiration from these kind of platforms, and the main intention should be to send out the message, the message, and making sure all of the points are covered, but also in the most effective and interactive manner. So use images, icons, clip arts to make it more interactive. So now you may be wondering what's the difference between an image and a clip art. So image can just be a picture, maybe a picture picture that you download from one of the free sites on the website, or a picture that you click by yourself. But when it comes to clip art is illustration or an animation or animated version, you can say. Like, if you are talking about a girl on a laptop, so it can just be a picture, or when you're coming to the clip art, it would be an illustration. It's not a real girl on with a laptop, it's an illustration of a girl on a laptop. So that's the main difference between images, and that's the difference actually between images and clip art. So make sure you use all of these to make it more interactive.
Hi guys, welcome. Now let's understand what is a courseware. Courseware is a computer program or a software that is designed to create any study material. Okay, this can be in regards to any education, any educational subject, or any other subjects out of your general syllabus as well. Okay, so how do you exactly create course on a courseware? It is not a very difficult deal, to be honest. Courseware can easily be created on PPT, just like the general slides that you create. If you would have ever created any presentation for your office purposes, that is how you can exactly create a courseware as well. And you can create the slides in PowerPoint very easily. Okay. But there are few things, a few components of courseware that you need to take care, which is the cover page of the module. What is the main module? So let's suppose I'm creating a courseware for a study material on a software for a course called writing, content writing, or copywriting, or whatever. So that is the module name. What is the module? This module is content writing. So you will first of all create the cover page, the main title, okay? The about which you're creating the course. And after that, you will divide all of that complete title into sub-modules. And you will see, again, you can never forget who are your learners. According to the learners, you will see that how long do you want this courseware to be, okay? Do you want this courseware to be in depth? And you will just cover each and every aspect of this particular topic, or do you want to keep it short and limited, and do you want to cover up a few topics only in depth and a few topics in brief? So you have to decide this first of all, and accordingly you will create, because one topic can be taught in at length also, and one topic can be taught in brief also. So first of all, you need to decide at what level it is. Okay, so then you decide the sub modules and the topics you're going to cover. What is the agenda of the module, as I said? So if my agenda is to teach this particular topic in depth, accordingly, you will choose the topic. Definitions and differences. Takeaway. What are the takeaway? Each module that you will cover, you will, at the end, you can mention what are the takeaways out of this module. You can mention case studies, examples, practical applications, assignments for practice. Okay, anything that is going to help the students in order to learn that topic. You will elaborate in steps, process, images, infographics, website links, screenshots, videos, anything that you want. And at the end, there should be an exam or any assessment or any question bank in order to judge their knowledge. This is how you create a courseware. These are some common softwares on which you can create your courseware. As I said, PowerPoint, this is what I prefer. Articulate Storyline is again a very famous um, software to create courseware. Brainshark, Adobe Captive, AuthorPoint. Okay, this is how you create courseware in PowerPoint. It is just like creating any other presentation. The way you create any presentation is just that the agenda of courseware is something that you would set, like you said it for any presentation as well. Okay, and you can create, you can put as many as infographics you want, the pictures that you want, videos, animations. Okay, it has got, infographics have got nothing to do with age. Even if you're teaching the adult learner, you need to understand that whether it is small, I mean, a young learner or adult learner, learners are different. If you will give them a lot of black and white theory to study, then it's going to be boring. Okay, and if you will just keep it images, 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 then again, the main point and the detail, in-depth information or knowledge will completely go for a toss. So you need to create the course keeping in mind every kind of learner and a blend of everything so that it can be a balanced courseware. And or a study material. Okay, so this is all about courseware, guys. Again, as I said, courseware is a part of academic writing. Okay, so I know these videos are very short, but this is just to give you an idea about, courseware or what all topics that are there in academic writing. So when academic writers are getting hired, what are going to be the job responsibilities of an academic writer? Okay, I'll see you in the next video and I will tell you what is rubrics. Hi guys, welcome. So as I said, we will talk about rubric. What is rubric? Rubric is a scoring tool. Okay, so when you create any study material, at the end, you need to have a scoring tool in order to assess that how the training went or how exactly are you going to assess the students for their progress. Okay, so you create a scoring tool that is known as rubrics. Okay. Now, while creating rubrics, you keep a few criteria. So let me explain it to you in a very simple manner. Let's suppose you are teaching an essay, okay, in the class, and you want to now judge your students or all the students that how good are they in essay writing, or who is the best, or who is doing good in which criteria. Then you define a few criteria of judging essay writing for the students. So let's suppose you are keeping some 3 or 4 criteria. So one criteria is about grammatical errors, that how good somebody is with grammar, okay, and sentence structure. Okay, so one criteria you can keep of grammar, okay, and other criteria can be about good sentence structure. Third criteria can be about innovative ideas, who's talking absolutely different. Like in essay, either, the students are just kind of, they've studied it from somewhere and they are not writing an original idea, but they've just learned it and they are presenting and writing that idea. Or if there is any student who's able to put forward his or her own idea, you want to keep this a criteria to improvise their critical thinking, or to see that which students, out of all the students, how many students are there who are actually good with critical thinking, and how many are there that whatever they have learned from somewhere, whatever they've studied from somewhere, they're just writing that. Okay. And other criteria you can keep of the number of words, that whether students have written the essay in the given number of words, 500 words or whatever was the count given while giving them the, essay, that you have to write an essay in 500 words. So who fulfill that particular criteria? And accordingly, you can decide and you can judge students. Okay, so you will check all of the essays and then you will step by step start to judge them basis on all of these criteria. Now, basis on this, you will be able to figure out that which student is good in grammar, which student has got a problem with grammar only, because that student would have scored probably really bad with grammar, but maybe his thinking process is good. He tried to put forward some new ideas. Maybe his sentence structure is okay, but grammar is here and there wrong. The tenses are not right. Okay, or maybe you want to give few marks for vocabulary as well if you want to keep it some other criteria. So this is what the rubrics is, assessing learners basis on different criterias depending on the subject. So you need to define your goal, that what is the goal of creating this rubric, basis on what criterias do you want to um, you know assess these students. Okay, so you need to define that goal. Same happens, rubrics can also be created to get the feedback. When you receive this form, a lot of places you get this form after you visit any restaurant or any other place wherein they ask for the feedback, or if you would have attended any particular official training, then also probably you would have got this feedback in which that how much do you score this training basis on the new knowledge given. Okay, 4, 5, 3, 1, 0, or all of those questions, that do you agree that the knowledge that was given was you were able to comprehend the knowledge easily, okay, in the training? Agree, strongly agree, disagree. Okay, so that kind of rubric gets created to assess that how good the training material was. Okay, so you need to define the goal of creating the rubrics, first of all. So how will I break down my expectations for this project? Are all of the tasks equally important? How do I want to assess performance, as I've just explained? Okay, basis on that, the rubrics gets created. So there are two kinds of rubrics. One is analytic rubric, one is holistic rubric. Okay, so advantages of analytic rubric is identifying specific student strengths and weaknesses can be informative. The example that I just gave you, in that example, what are you doing? You are just identifying what are the strong areas of this particular student. So this student is good with grammar, this student is weak with grammar, but this student is good with ideas. I mean, he's a very good critical thinker, but the other student is good with grammar, but not a very good critical thinker. Okay, so it is about figuring out the strong and the weak points of the learner. Okay, holistic rubric is more intuitive and effective to score. Once trained, rating trend to be consistent, high reliability, simplified rater training and implementation, less complex to understand for the students. Okay, so here it is a simple assessment wherein all of the students are just getting marks, but you are not able to distinguish them whether which student has done good in which criteria. Okay, it's just an overall performance rating. Okay, disadvantage obviously of analytical rubric is going to be very time consuming. Imagine that you're reading each and every point to decide the one essay is written. Now you are assessing that particular essay in 4 to 5 different criteria. So definitely it's a very time consuming process, wherein the holistic rubric doesn't take a lot of time. Okay. So you need to choose that what is the kind of rubric and determine your criteria, of course. This is what I have already discussed. How many criteria do you want to keep? As less criteria as you will keep, your job is going to be easy. But if you really need detailing about each learner, then you need to keep more criterias. Create your performance levels. And for every criteria, you need to create the performance level as well. That if somebody is scoring 4, then he's an exceptional performer or satisfactory, or 2 is, some improvisation is needed. So you need to keep the level as well, that, which student is going to be called exceptional performer. Okay, if he's scoring 5, if he's scoring 4, 3, so you need to keep those levels, and that is how you create the rubrics. Okay, here are some tools to create rubrics. iRubric works well, honestly. The rest, all of them works well, but because I've worked on iRubrics, not too much, but of course, when I was working. So iRubrics works well. Essay Tagger is also okay. Rest of the tools I have not checked personally, but you can check them out. Okay, so these are the tools to create rubrics. That's all, guys, for this video. I'll see you in the next one.